There was another subject that I wanted to talk about. This one's kind of twofold. And to some degree, it goes into what I want to do with the video essay that I'm working on still on police abolition. Because I saw in a panel recently, I don't watch them obsessively, but I do watch them occasionally. And there was this one fellow on there who was just railing on and on about how the left has this messaging problem where a lot of people, shout ACAB and defund the police and all this stuff, and don't have any policy to back that up. And it was maddening to me because there are policies out there. There are entire frameworks which abolitionists advocate for. Whether, it's very well outlined in Aid to Abolition. We've talked about a lot of it on this channel. And I do agree with him on one point that a lot of people who recognize that there is a serious problem within the policing infrastructure don't actually know how to articulate what a replacement or what a new system could look like. So that discussion kind of gave me a little bit more direction on how I need to frame that video essay. I believe it is the same, General Mill. But that is to say, it does need to be aimed at people who basically at that demographic of the people who recognize that there is a problem and want to have solutions they can actually advocate for, and it needs to be designed in such a way to put those into usable words that they can actually argue. Now that isn't always the easiest thing for me, so as we go into this next year, I have been outlining some stuff, I have been collecting a bunch of links, etc. But I guess I want to put this question to chat. I could go and just draft all this and then try and pitch it and see, petition for feedback and do that sort of feedback loop. Or if there was interest in this, and there might not be, I could take an hour each stream going into next year and work collaboratively with y'all, where I'm working on the script and draft and stuff, and we can talk through it as it's being written, which also might let y'all challenge things as they're being written, and it may result in a sharper overall argument and better structure, but it would necessitate chat to actually be actively involved in that. And I don't know if that interest is there. It would basically be research and writing stream for a period of it each week. If that is something that people would be willing to engage in, then yeah, I would go that route, because I think that could result in a better overall end product. But if not, I can definitely continue to go it alone on that. So what do y'all think? You're in? Okay. Very cool. The other bit is the other half of this is sort of same thing where I've seen in panel discussions another line of thinking which is very frustrating. And it's the main line of argumentation from those who believe in a retributive justice system or punitive justice system that needs to be shut down and countered. And it has to be done delicately, because the line of argumentation is, well, some people, deserve to die or can't be rehabilitated, such as, and they will, typically the go-tos are murderers and people who commit sexual assaults and such. And I'm very sympathetic to the immediate emotion that drives that view. And yet, okay, so I want to talk about sexual assault for a moment. And I want to do this from a personal place. So don't get this confused. I'm not speaking for everyone. I'm speaking from my own experiences and such. I don't really get I don't get personal too much on this channel, but I'm going to go there for this particular subject. When I was a teenager, I was pressured into my first experience with sexual intercourse. I was dating an older girl at the time. That technically makes it statutory rape right off the bat, but it also ran afoul of what I understand now is active consent. And it did mess me up for several years. I had a negative association with intimacy. Now, I say this while also holding the view that she is not a bad person, and I would not have wanted to put her in prison for this. So, what prescription is there for cases like that? Which I suspect there are many, because we do know from data that sexual assault and rape occur primarily with people that the victim is close to, and that was the case with me as well. This could be someone that is being dated, it could be a family member, it could be a very, very close friend. And very, very often it manifests, violations of consent manifest over time, gradually, not just all at once in a violent event, which is what people typically think of when talking about these issues and speaking on behalf of victims. Under the current system, the only way that I could have aired my grievance would be to pursue putting that person in jail. The same is true if it occurs at home. You could imagine, a parent or family member abusing someone, and the way the punitive system works is basically, since there is no off-ramp earlier on to try to address a smaller infringement of consent, the victim is left to wait until things are bad enough and harmful enough to them that they actively need to put that person in prison for their own safety, because they can't stop things before then. So, all of that to say, from a abolitionist perspective, there would need to be a system earlier on to address the harm without trying to hurt anyone. Basically to say, hold on, something is wrong here, and we need a mediator to sort it out, to counsel us through this, to provide therapy and healing where needed, and to provide guidance to the abuser as to what is wrong with their behavior before it escalates further. And under that framework, if that were not only destigmatized but freely and easily available, many of these cases could actually be stopped before they escalated to, even worse violations. Would it stop all cases? No. But I suppose this is just kind of highlighting the lens of, do we just focus on waiting until something terrible has happened and punish the person who's done it? Or do we ask the question, when is harm of any sort being done and what can be done to heal it? And I'm much more interested in the latter. If I had had such resources where I could have taken that woman that I mentioned, and we could have talked things out through a mediation process and gotten counseling and such, we probably would have still split up. But we probably also could have avoided that level of violation on myself. Because it did happen over time. She was frequently pushing the boundaries with me, and I went along with it because I did not want to lose her. Despite being not really ready to go that far yet. And it was something that I had recognized earlier on, but again, had no recourse besides, seeking punitive measures against her. And I think this is the same sort of, this is a perspective that can be applied to many things, but it's that sort of thinking that needs to be done more, is rather than just looking at a particular incident in isolation, look at what led to it and figure out, how do we address that? Because usually, the same as with violent crime, usually there are things that lead to that behavior. let's take murder as an example, actually, as well. So I have been actively corresponding with... Hey. Thanks, Sylvain. I have been actively corresponding with someone who has been imprisoned for life, for murder. Largely to get their perspective and to get the human story. Because very often, I talk on these issues, but I don't have that personal experience myself. And while it's easy for, people to dehumanize criminals, to just hand wave them away and say, they just deserve whatever they're getting, I also don't want to run afoul of dehumanizing them by just, speaking on their behalf without engaging with them personally. So yeah, that's part of what drove me to start that. And he's someone who was incarcerated for murder. 2 counts of it, actually. And one of the things that is often misunderstood is a lot of people seem to believe that people just, they just murder because they're just that way. They just don't regard life at all. And there may be some cases where that's the case, but that doesn't seem to be a majority of cases. In his instance, he was someone who grew up in a very poor household. His father ended up going to jail for drugs when he was 5. His mother tried to make ends meet, but he had, growing up, no housing and no food security. They frequently had to move around, and very often did not have food on the table. By age 12, he was dealing drugs to try to help out his mother. Now, at age 12, I was faffing about on BBS games. I had no real concerns of that. Hey, Yotomo. I was concerned with, where my grades were. I don't know about y'all, but I do agree, yeah, society is atomized. I do agree that if I had many nights where there was no food on the table and my mother was tearing herself apart trying to feed us, I would try to do what I could to support her. Now, labor laws say that a child can't work until they're 16. You grow up in a household and your father was involved in drug trade and you have an opportunity arrive that you could start selling and it would put food on the table, you're probably going to take it, especially, you don't have perfect judgment at age 12. So he started doing that. At some point, in his late teen years, a deal went very wrong, and he ended up having to shoot one of the people. And he doesn't make excuses about that. But this goes to one of the central things that we constantly talk about when we talk about crime, which is there are two primary predictors of it. One, housing insecurity, and two is food insecurity. If his household was not plagued by both of these issues, he would not have felt compelled to start selling drugs at 12. Ergo, he would not have ended up in a deal where he had to shoot someone at age 17. He's a very intelligent person and a very compassionate and kind person. He does regret what he did. He wishes he could take it back. He has gone on to study various things. He's spent a few years in solitary. He has remotely gotten like a degree, I forget exactly what in. If he could get out, he has plans that he would love to pursue. He also talks about the other issues of being in prison, which is that they're not really able to develop relationships. They're not really able to have anything resembling normal life. He has no idea if he would be able to function once released, if he were released. He articulates, he wrote a book called Judged by 12, and he articulates that, like, something that I've struggled to even conceive of in even talking about this stuff, but I want you to imagine that rather than your normal day-to-day life, someone else decides when you wake up, they decide when your meal time is, they decide when your yard time is, they decide when your recreation time is, they decide when your lunch hour is, when you are doing work in the wherever you're assigned, and they decide when you're allowed to go to the restroom, they decide when you go to your cell and lights out. You are a slave to the clock, and you do not have to make any personal decisions. In fact, you are forbidden from it. You don't get to choose what clothes you wear. You don't really get to choose, like, hairstyle. You don't get to... Think of all the decisions that you make throughout every single day. And now imagine that you've spent years where you didn't have to make any of those decisions, and then were thrown into a life where you did. It's hard to conceive of that. But that is how our current prison system operates and how it breaks people's ability to function within the very society that we are demanding them to live in. This is especially true when people are put into solitary. And some of his descriptions of that were very difficult. If I can, I'll have him on for an interview. He added me to his call list, but it's even more difficult for me to imagine that experience. Our power went out here a few weeks ago, I guess a week ago or so. And we had like books and the Nintendo Switch to fall back on. But it was still kind of disrupted because our normal entertainment that we go to was cut off. And it was only for a few hours. Yeah, you were fine with books. Now, this is a pale comparison, but I try to take that and extrapolate even further. What if no entertainment was available to us and we could not even talk to each other? And we were expected to stay in that sort of isolation and silence for weeks, months, or years, with nothing to do except, make up something, throw whatever you have at walls, begin talking to yourselves. It's really hard to live inside your own head, even for just a couple hours, much less days or weeks at a time. And yeah, you can try to come up with something to pass the time, but humans require that social interaction. And when it is denied us, it leaves scars. That was kind of a long ramble, but those were two topics that I wanted to cover because those are the two examples that people bring up constantly when they say, oh, well, some people can't be rehabilitated. Some people should be locked up for life or should be put to death. And I wanted to challenge that idea, and from first my own experiences and then from this individual's. People can be rehabilitated, and they should be. Aberrant behaviors, if they were addressed earlier on before they got more locked into someone's personality, harm can be diverted. If we focus more on what is causing people to go down these harmful routes and what can we do to heal it, not only can we help heal their potential victims, but we can heal them as well. So, yeah, I guess that's all I was saying there.